All right, let's see. Let's see who we bringing up next. Who we bringing up next? Oh, all right. We got your guys, man. We got 7-star FTR, man. Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, bro. These yo guys. I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm gonna follow up.
All right, man. Clive, what it do, man? What it do? What it do? What it do? Earl, you should know this team. All right, man. Well, see, you got my boys right there. They're already holding the AEW tag team titles, even though they're not the AEW current tag team champions. FTR, man, is a throwback to the old school in today's wrestling. Um, when you look at them, they're not the biggest, they're not the most flashiest, but they are everything that you want out of a really, really good tag team. As heels or babyface, you love these guys when they get in the ring because they're there to put a hurting to what any whoever is in that ring with them. They're gonna out wrestle them. They're gonna they're gonna outlast them. They're gonna outbleed them. They're gonna out whatever it is that you want to do. Dax and Cash, man, have proven not only in just the New Japan, but in the Ring of Honor, not only in TNA, not only in AEW, but they've also proven it in WWE. Now, when you think of their WWE run, I remember their NXT run. And I remember all the teams that they were going up against then and the matches that they were putting on then. And this is why people were calling them at the time it was 5-star FTR. Then it became 6-star. Then it just seemed like every year they just add a star to this team because that's just what they are. They I get what you're saying, Earl. Um, they are they are quintessentially, I mean, like I say, they're a throwback to what old school wrestling was. When you think of teams like the Andersons, and when you think of teams like Clive says, the APA, when you think of those type of tag teams that work well together, but they were brutal though. They man like they work you. They weren't all about the flash. When you think of some teams like the Hollywood Blondes and how they work, when you think of teams like the Hart Foundation, when you think of teams like uh, who else I want to say the Dudley Boys. When you think of a team like the Dudley Boys, even though you could say Edge Christian and you could say the Hardy Boys, but the Dudley Boys, just that brawl out style. The FTR can bring that, but they can also bring that in ring technician. They can actually out wrestle anybody. So when I look at FTR, when I see them, yeah, they're like I said, they're not the biggest, but those two guys, man, hey, when they say they're gonna do something, they're gonna do it. And you gonna enjoy the match. Like you're going to enjoy the match. Even if you like them or don't like the team that they're going up against, you're gonna enjoy the match. They really do bring out the best in any tag team that they wrestle. Like they demand it. Like and that's another thing, man. They demand that you present yourself as a tag team. Or they gonna whoop the shit out of you. It's almost just like I don't know. It's just something about the way they carry themselves, man. And when I see them, when I look at them, when I see they're on the card, I'm like, ooh, who they going against? It really don't matter. It should be a really good match. Unless it's somebody trash and it's somebody they're gonna run through. But if it's a solid team that they're going up against, if it's the Young Bucks or whoever, they're going up against them, you're gonna get a solid match out of them. I mean, even when they go up against guys like Juice Robinson and Jay White, or if they go up against Ricky Starks and Big Bill, or they go up against the Acclaim, or they go up against at the time it was Swerve and Keith Lee, or the Young Bucks, whoever it is they go up against, the Lucha Bros, whoever it is they go up against, they have really really great tag teams. So I'm gonna say that they are definitely underappreciated, but I think uh, because of some of that kind of old school way that they are seen a bit overrated to some people. Like, there's nothing really special about them. Like they just basic tag team wrestlers. But that's the thing though. If you really like tag team wrestling, I man, that you appreciate that aspect. So it's like, yeah, like that. I really think that they're under, they're not underrated. They're underappreciated because they're not overrated as far as talent and what they do in the ring. They're not of that, but I think just the way their style and just how kind of bland they are sometimes, but yet man, when they on the card, you finna get a fire tag team match. You are. So that's how I feel about FTR.
Okay, so good points. Good points. Um, I agree and disagree, but for almost the same exact reasons you said what you said. Now I'm gonna go back to their NXT days. And to go back to that old school style, they say they fancy themselves after the Hearts, like you said, after Arn Anderson and all them, after the Four Horsemen, all the old school guys, and you can see it, everything from the music to the style to the body type, to present everything, right? Um, their motto was no flips, just fist. And that was true because, especially even the NXT when they were getting really indie heavy, right? Everybody was doing flips and all this. And FTR was that group that stood out because they didn't do all that. When you look at some of our current favorite groups, right? When you look at a team like, let's say, Imperium, they don't do a lot of flips, ground and pound, the Brawling Brutes, same thing, ground and pound, and I feel like when you look at a team like FTR, at first, initially, because yes, we live in such a fast-paced now society, at first it could be a little off-putting because it's like, yo, why are they so boring? But then again, man, it's about telling a story because they don't do all the flips and everything like that. Now you got to use ring psychology. Now you got to sell. Now you got to know your timing. Now everybody's paying so much more attention because you don't have the guys and the mask of all this other cool shit. But that's what makes you appreciate it. Because I'm not going to lie. At first, I wasn't the big FTR fan for that same reason. Now, I will say WWE to me kind of tainted their image on the way out the door, having them do all that hokey shit. So yeah, when they first came to AEW, it was kind of like, eh. And I feel like when they first came to AEW, they were very underappreciated. But at the same time, as somebody who wasn't always a fan necessarily, I can understand why. I do feel like now that they've made it very clear that they got more days behind them in front of them, and this is their last full-time run, I do think now the fans are actually starting to appreciate it more now because FTR is such a real talent. Like you said, the way they carry themselves, bro, they can pretty much be on the card with damn near anybody, and it's going to be a banger. You know how mad we were when they didn't get those title opportunities at first? It was like, yo, what the hell? And then now Tony kind of, when he ran out of things to do with AEW, what do you do? Send their ass to AAA. So I do feel like now, even MJF, when you talk about
they came back with 2 more titles. They left and came back with 2 more titles.
With like 2 more titles.
Bet.
So I do feel like now they're not necessarily underrated, but I do feel like for the longest time up until recently, super underappreciated.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, and Clive is not wrong. They are appreciated, and so maybe I'll change it to they're right where they need to be. I'll put them there instead of just putting them because they are because they are appreciated.
But they did have to earn their respect, though. I
mean, but they had to earn it, but they've had it for such a long time. Like I feel like they had it in NXT, and when they got to the main roster, people wanted to see them go up against the Usos and the New Day and all, you know what I'm saying, and have those matches, but the same type of matches we were seeing them having. Remember, that was the problem with watching people come up from NXT to the to the main roster. They weren't always being put, to look legit like some guys and girls were.